This video is dedicated to you boys, the young lads who still support Andrew Tate, of which there is still far too many. Boys, real men are honest. They tell you the truth and they take accountability.
But for the first 2 weeks, I literally didn't know why I was in jail. They said human trafficking. I'm like, human trafficking who?
Yeah.
When? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they said, you have to wait. 2 weeks later, I get the papers and find out that I had been giving timings to some friends of mine of when is the best time to post on TikTok. And that is how they got me for human trafficking.
Wow.
And they found out that I made some old videos and made some jokes, and I told some girls what hours to do TikTok. That's what they found.
This man really is the stupidest person in the history of the internet. We're still going with the TikTok stuff. Really? The fact that he still has one fan after repeatedly saying that he's accused of helping his friends make TikToks just shows how brainwashed these kids are. I'm not bothering to pull up receipts to contradict this. I've been over this on my channel. It's 2024 now. We've been hearing these lies for over a year. If you're ready to accept the truth, what these people are charged with is public information. You can look it up in 2 minutes and then never take this idiot seriously again.
Done. And a lot of the people at home don't understand, especially my haters, etc. I will argue this right now. I don't know how many people are watching us. I'm cleaner than 99.9% of people who are watching this stream. I've been investigated by 3 or 4 different federal agencies and special services from different countries my entire life, head to toe. Anyone I've ever spoken to in my entire life has been questioned. And they...
You heard that right. This absolute buffoon is suggesting that he's been monitored by numerous government agencies his entire life, and everyone he has ever met has been questioned. Even back when he was a brokey kickboxer or living in government housing in Luton, this man was a big deal. Those governments were onto him. He's obviously a clown, and this was a bit of silliness to start the video, but there's some sick stuff in this stream that I feel like I have to cover. An alleged violent sexual predator and his idiot friends attacking victims and using other alleged sexual predators and their victims. I need to give 2 disclaimers. Firstly, if it's hard for you to hear people making a mockery out of sexual crimes, I understand if you don't watch the rest of the video. The second disclaimer is for the tater tots. As the legal proceedings progress, if any of you even think about sharing the identities or any information about any of the victims in any of these cases, the Matrix is watching. You would be breaking the law and their legal teams will be notified immediately.
About it. But the fact that an American girl came here and made a false accusation and managed to create such a mess, would that have been possible without me being monumentally famous in a country like Romania? No. They would have laughed her out of the police station because they're actually very sensible here.
Right. Which they did laugh her out the first time.
They laughed her out the first time.
For all you fucking haters, they laughed her out the first time.
They laughed her out the police station when the first call was made in April. I mean, if I was guilty the first night I was arrested, I would have never been released, of course. She was laughed out of the police station for a reason.
Okay, firstly, this is a new one. We haven't heard this lie yet from Andrew, that she was laughed out of the police station the first time. And it certainly is a lie. There's never been a mention of this before this stream. There is no record of this in any court document or the indictment. The evidence shows pretty clearly that when that first call was made, shit hit the fan. And to quickly respond to you, Myron, assuming I'm one of those haters that you were referring to, the fact that you are so complicit in running PR to defend Andrew from such heinous crimes is beyond suspicious. What skeletons do you have in the closet?
April. And then there was a 6 or 7 month delay in which nothing at all happened. And then when I was canceled online, at the same time, the case was picked back up and they decided to put me in jail for this TikTok thing. When the global powers decided to silence me, the case was then picked back up. I'll let you do the math.
Okay.
So, I mean, if all...
This just really solidifies why this guy is the most embarrassing fool in the history of the internet. Just a stream of ridiculous, unnecessary lies that absolutely anybody can easily verify. Maybe nothing happened inside Andrew's brain for those 6 months, but they were absolutely investigating Tate and his alleged criminal friends for all these crimes, including human trafficking. Okay, now things get really sick. On top of human trafficking, Andrew has a decade-long history of women across numerous countries alleging him of being a serial rapist. Andrew and his idiot friends have made a habit of using other high-profile cases of powerful men being alleged of sexual crimes to convince the public that he and these other men are all innocent. It's sick stuff, and since I know some details about some of the examples they used, I felt compelled to address them. Starting with the now former WWE chairman, Vince McMahon.
Blah, blah. Just so you guys understand, right? So Vince McMahon, for some of you guys that don't know, this woman came out and said that he trafficked her, right? Across state lines, blah, 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 because she would go, in jets, by the way, all across the country in the WWE, travels everywhere. He gave her a settlement of $1 to $2 million, guys. He gave her $20,000 for surgery.
A car.
He gave her a brand new BMW. He gave her a job. He gave her expensive gifts, jewelry, etc. Okay? He gave her all these gifts, and he was sending her roses every other week.
Vince McMahon, a very famous billionaire, and he bought her a whole bunch of presents. Well, if a woman gets with a billionaire boyfriend, she probably expects presents, yeah. And
I don't know if these guys understand this, but just in case anyone watching this needs this explained to them, buying someone lots of expensive gifts doesn't mean it's okay to abuse them, or doesn't mean that abuse didn't happen. The boys are pretty stuck on this point, but it's quite clearly irrelevant.
Right? Then this woman, right? He tells her, hey, look, me and Linda McMahon, she found out about you. We can't do this anymore.
You got to stop. Yeah.
She waits like 2 years, and then she drops a lawsuit on him when they're about to have the Royal Rumble, right, which is the WWE's second biggest event after WrestleMania. They're about to go public with TKO, and The Rock is about to become a board member, right? So all these big business things happen, and then she decides to drop the lawsuit. We all know what happens with these lawsuits. Hey, we're going to go public with this unless you decide to pay us XYZ. He probably said, fuck off. I already gave you $2 million earlier, bitch, and I made you sign an NDA. I'm not getting with it. So, guys.
Cool story, and I'm sure it was very convincing to some viewers, but it's a load of rubbish. This wasn't suddenly sprung on Vince to mess with the Royal Rumble or The Rock joining the board. This case became public knowledge back in 2022, when McMahon stepped down as chairman of the board, while the WWE did its own internal investigation. He was later reinstated, only to recently step down again when the lawsuit was officially filed, and some of the sick details became public. Myron is also pretty hung up on the fact that the victim accepted $3 million to sign an NDA. Again, this is irrelevant, but for what it's worth, McMahon stopped making these payments.
So, guys, and here's the other thing. Everyone on YouTube is jumping on this girl's side saying Vince McMahon's evil, whatever. Look, maybe he has some weird sexual fetishes. It is what it is. But regardless, it was consensual. But the fact that they're running around saying that he's a trafficker now,
bro,
you know the worst part though?
they just throw that term around.
It's the
and now that the money's dried up, she's upset. That doesn't cross their mind. They're just going to sit there and repeat human trafficker, slave ball,
Andrew gets better. I've read his case extensively. I've read the Vince McMahon case extensively. It's not fucking human trafficking when it's consensual, motherfuckers. But that's what we're getting to.
These guys really are as stupid as they are sick. They are choosing cases where, like in Andrews, there is receipts upon receipts. In the McMahon case, there is a mountain of text message evidence that destroys Vince McMahon. To be clear, the human trafficking charges in the McMahon case come from him allegedly pimping the girl out to WWE executives and even wrestlers. Like the Tate case, If anyone is in any doubt over the legitimacy of the allegations against Vince McMahon, or if anyone thinks this is a Matrix attack, I'd suggest reading the court file, like Myron says he did. They also keep mentioning that it was consensual. A big part of this case and the victim's testimony is about how it was not consensual. It's a bit of a concern that Myron seems to think that the more times he repeats something is consensual, it becomes true. This gives you an idea of how these guys use other cases involving sexual crimes as PR. Next, they touched on Andrew's own upcoming sexual assault case in the UK.
Problem.
I think the UK is coming for me next. I think they're going to launch a case on me. I think they're going to attempt to arrest me. And that's why they've come up with the idea they have. And that's why, as we speak right now, the British government is trying to put me in jail. I'm pretty sure of that.
And they tried already to do something, and they failed. Coming at a case, they took all your shit. This is back, 2013?
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah.
A long time ago, they took all your stuff and they failed. So it's like, what the fuck, man? I don't know. It's just wild. And you haven't lived there. So it's just amazing to me how they're going after someone that doesn't even live there anymore just because you're critical of their government.
When Myron says that in 2013, the UK government came for Andrew, took all his stuff because he was critical of the government, what he means is that 4 women say that Andrew sexually assaulted them and raped them in 2013 and 2014, well before Andrew had any fame. They went to the police with evidence such as text messages, voice notes from Andrew saying he loved raping them, and eyewitnesses, and the police completely botched the investigation. They didn't even hand the file to the Crown Prosecution Service until 2019, by which time the Tates had moved their operations to Romania. Andrew's trying to act like he's predicting a Matrix attack, likely because he knows that this is going to escalate and become much more public. As it stands, these women in the UK are looking to sue Andrew in a civil case, with the hope that the authorities reopen the criminal investigation and charge him. In my opinion, there is a lot of publicly available evidence to suggest that Andrew is a disgusting, violent rapist. I'll put a link in the description for the fundraiser to help these women bring Andrew to court. Please donate if you can, big or small, share it on your social medias, and keep it in mind as this case progresses and becomes more public.
If you remove the emotionality from events and try to find your fault in them, which is what I do because I believe in absolute self-accountability. So I blamed myself for going to jail. Yes, it's a Matrix attack. Yes, I'm innocent. Yes, a girl lied. Yes, but I'm still blaming myself. What am I doing?